Welcome to the Physician Family Financial Podcast, where physician moms and dads like you can get the answers and encouragement you need to turn a good earned income into great life outcomes for tomorrow and today.
Hello, physician moms and dads. I'm Nate Reineke, certified financial planner and primary advisor.
And I'm Ben Utley, certified financial planner and service team leader here at Physician Family. Welcome to the show. Today we have more listener questions. Nate, what's the first question of the day?
Yes. So I got a new question, Ben. I've never been asked this question before.
Love it.
I'm just kidding. I get asked all the time.
Oh, no, you had me.
All right. A radiologist in Ohio asked, if I save my money into a 529, will it grow like my other investments? So I get this question in some form or another pretty often, which is like, if it goes into this account, will it be different than if it's in this account? And the answer is always, they could grow exactly the same. Like they could be the same investment. It's just which account is it in. But with a 529, it probably shouldn't grow exactly the same depending on the age of your child. So if you're investing for retirement and you have a 15-year-old child and you got 20 years till retirement or 10 years till retirement versus a few years until college, they shouldn't be growing at the same rate because you should be taking probably less risk in the 529. But if you wanted them to, you could invest in the exact same things in both, and they would grow at the same exact rate.
Nate, I got this question from the stay-at-home mom spouse of an ENT who is practicing in Alaska, and she said, "Is a 403B a good investment, or is a 401k a good investment?" And I said, "It's
Right.
it's like you go to the grocery store, and you see two jars on the shelves. One of them's got mayonnaise in it, and one of them's got peaches in it, and you say, well, this jar tastes good." Right. Well, if you like peaches and you're holding the peach jar, it will taste good. If you're holding the mayonnaise jar and you like mayonnaise, it will taste good. But it has to do with what's in the jar, not the
Yes.
jar itself or the shape of the jar. And it's newer investors often get confused between the tax wrapper, which could be an IRA, Roth IRA, 403B, 529 plan. So that's the account type or the tax wrapper, and the thing that goes in it, which could be a mutual fund, an ETF, a gold coin, real estate. It could be pretty much anything that goes in there. The performance of the account is going to be dictated by the thing that goes into the account, aka the flavor, right? It's going to taste
That's right.
like peaches if it's got peaches in it, but when you take it out, it's going to pop like a seal top jar. If it's got a seal on it, it's going to unscrew like a screw top jar if it's got a screw top on it. Same way, if it's a Roth IRA, you're not going to get taxed on the way out. 529 qualified higher education expenses, not going to get taxed on the way out. But if you're taking money out of a traditional IRA or taxable account, you're going to pay taxes. So there's two things here. There's the jar and the stuff in the jar. There's the tax
That's right.
wrapper and the investments, right? And never the twain shall meet. So some common question to confuse what's in the jar with the jar.
That's good. That's good. Okay, next question. A family physician in New York. Okay, they asked, in addition to all my other savings and investing, I invest $7,500 a month in a taxable account. One, is there a downside to increasing this to $10,000 or $15,000 during the recent correction in the stock market since everything is, quote, on sale? I would drop back down to my standard 7,500 once the stock market comes back out of this correction, and hopefully it doesn't plunge into a bear market, although I'd keep doing it in a bear market. Two, is doing the above a form of market timing? I know market timing is not a great thing to do, but it doesn't seem as bad as the above strategy. And I know all market timers always think this. I'd love your thoughts.
Nice. So this is from Rich. He's a frequent flyer of ours, so a listener. So Rich, thank you so much for your question. You're giving us something to do today.
Yes.
So I replied to his email and I said this is market timing adjacent. So he kind of got his answer already. But I want to go a little bit deeper here. He said that while things are quote unquote on sale and everything is, I think he said everything is expensive or everything is cheap. Okay.
Mhm.
So we've had a correction in the US market. I think it's off like 10% from its recent high, which it hit just like months ago, right? Or a few weeks ago. It seemed like it was never ago, right? Um, I would argue that things are not cheap. I would argue that things are not on sale. It's like they were expensive and now they're just a little bit less expensive, right?
This
And
is
when you
like
talk,
when you go into Nordstrom and
yeah,
they'd say things are on sale. And I'm like,
yes,
it's on sale from a crazy price. That doesn't count.
that's right. But this is more like Sotheby's or Tiffany's, right? Where things
Yeah.
are on sale. They're three times as expensive as they ought to be, and it's 10% off. I'm like,
Yes.
that's not a sale. That's not cheap, right?
Right.
And so I also take issue with the word things. Okay. Real estate's not on sale. Home prices are still exorbitant, right? Interest rates are still sixes and sevens, which is not on sale or cheap. U.S. stock market is things that's not on sale. It's near its high valuations, not only in terms of absolute price, but in terms of price to earnings ratio. It's at one of the three or four highest prices it's been in U.S. history. I tell you what's on sale. Emerging markets, those are on sale. Very low PE ratio. International stocks, relatively on sale and have been for a long time. Been out of favor while we've been doing our technology thing over here in the States. All that stuff has been sitting there being relatively inexpensive. So everything's not on sale, but some stuff is on sale and it's not the stuff that you think that it is, right? So I don't like it market timing. What I love is having a steady Eddie savings rate that's going to get you on track over the very long haul, plugging away, putting that in, regardless of what the stock market does, because all of the studies show that it's not timing the market, it's time in the market that matters. And the thing that I really hate about this, Rich, the thing that scares the crap out of me about this is when you start playing with this, it's a gateway drug for the bigger drug of actually timing the market. And that's when people get pummeled. So I wouldn't do
Yeah.
this. If you got 10 grand to put away, put it away. If you only got 7,500, put 7,500 away. Put it away, diversify it, and wake up 20 years from now with more money than you have today.
Right. Good. Okay. Next question. Another family physician, but out in Seattle, Washington.
Woohoo! Washington, hello.
Yes. Seattle, Washington. They got it. It's a tough housing question in Seattle.
You know what I love
Um,
about Seattle is they got hella coffee everywhere you go. It's coffee every
everywhere.
corner, and something about chocolate. It's like these people have a proclivity for taking the beans of the rainforest and turning them into magic elixir. I love Seattle.
Nice. All right. They said, we want to upgrade our house, but have a really low interest rate on our current home. Our family and friends are saying they want to keep, or that we should keep our current home as a rental, but we don't like the idea of becoming landlords. What should we do?
Mm, housing good, landlord bad.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, it was interesting. This is a new family that we're serving, and I was writing their plan with them. And every time I got off the phone, I have to say, um, I thought about this question.
Hmm.
It's hard. I don't want to ignore the idea that it is hard to have a piece of real estate in Seattle, Washington, with a 2.5% interest rate and just sell it without thinking about it. But I could not, for the life of me, come up with a great reason to keep it.
Yeah.
I couldn't. I looked at their plan several times, and I told them this. I said I was driving in the car over the weekend, and I was thinking about them and this question because a lot of us are in the same boat. I'm in this boat. I have a really low interest rate, and I just thought writing their plan. If they do what's in the plan, which they are totally able to do, um, they save for college, they save for retirement. They'll have plenty of money for retirement, plenty of money for college. They'll have the money to get into a new house. So what is the reason? What's the great reason to become a landlord? So basically so they can die with a little bit more money.
Yeah. Yeah. And I have an analogy here. You know what this is? This is that really awesome looking sweater that, your friend gave you from a gift and it came from a swank store and it's got a cool label on it. Everybody loves it. And it's
Hmm.
just scratchy as all get out and you hate wearing it,
Yeah,
right? It's
right.
it's it's beautiful. It's a good thing. It's just not good for you, right? And what do? You get rid of the sweater
Yeah,
because nobody wants to die looking great in that uncomfortable sweater, right? I mean, same
that's
thing you just
right.
said. Die with this a little bit more money because of having this house, right?
Yeah. And there are people listening that they sit there and they think like, well, I'd rather have more money. That may be fine if you want to be a landlord. But in today's market, they still would not break even, which was
Yeah.
surprising to me. So they got this
Yeah.
great interest rate. Everyone's celebrating this great interest rate. They'd be putting money into this house.
Hmm.
And they said, I don't think we'd break even for years. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness. And so it just doesn't seem to provide anything of value to these people, because at this point, a few extra $100,000, invested, I guess you could say, the low interest rate, that's not as valuable to them as it would be to move on to a better house and spend less time managing a property.
Yeah.
You
It's not, financial life, financial well-being is not all about money. It's about the things that money can bring or help you avoid. One of the things money helps us avoid is things that are pain. And being a landlord, I assure you, it is a pain. If you were
Yes.
supposed to be a landlord, you would know it. You'd be able to walk in your garage and look around and see your Makita tools, and you see your lathe and your drill press and your bandsaw and all that good stuff. You'd be jazzed about working on houses. If that's not you, you're not landlord material, especially not in Seattle, where things are priced to live in, not rent out. That's a horrible market to be a landlord in. You want to be a landlord? Go to Missouri, go to Nebraska, go to one of those places where home prices are low and you can buy a whole house for the down payment you'd buy a home for in Seattle. Be intentional about it. Don't be accidental as a landlord.
Yes.
That's like being an
Yep.
accidental parent, right? I mean, some people do that, and some of them are miserable. You want a planned
Yeah.
entry into this world.
Yeah,
I'm just
exactly.
on fire today, Nate. I don't know what it
I
is.
know. Well, these are good questions, and they're meaningful questions. It's easy for us to just say, don't do it, but I've seen people be accidental landlords and they hate it.
Yeah,
I say sell it, and then they go, oh, I can't, it's low interest rate. A year later, they're like, okay, Nate, we've been beat over the head 10 times by this house. How do we get out of it? I'm like, just sell it. It's okay. Just
there's
sell
a saying in business, you'll make more money by saying no than you ever will with saying yes.
it.
Right? And running a family, running a practice, raising kids. No is your favorite word because it makes things simpler. It keeps you on target, on track.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love me some no.
All right. Last question of the day is from a hospitalist in Texas. I know there are a lot of changes going on with student loans and PSLF right now, but have you seen any families you work with make progress recently?
Yeah.
A lot of
You want me to
changes,
take,
Ben.
so we agreed I would take this one.
Yeah.
Okay. So this story is what I like to call the dancing pediatrician. So one day I'm working at my desk. I get this call from a nice lady, and she tells me she's a pediatrician. Okay, so we all know what that signals. It signals people who work their butt off and they don't get paid what they should. Okay,
Hmm.
living in the Bay Area. Okay, so that signals like really expensive stuff, right? And she wants to buy a house, and she has a big fat student loan, three or $400,000. And I'm like, oh no, absolutely not. And she's insistent on buying a house. I said, look, this is not for you. You're in the deep end of the pool. If you insist on buying a house in the Bay Area with all these student loans as a pediatrician, I will not work with you. And that was the end of the conversation, right? Because I was like, I'm not going to try to do the impossible. So I get this text message a couple weeks later. She says, I'm not going to buy a house. Can I work with you now? And I picked up the phone and I called her, and she became a client, right? And that's where this story began. So, somewhere along the way, she stumbled into Nate's camp because Nate is our student loan czar. And Nate, I'll let you finish the story.
Yeah. So we were working with her together, and gosh, this was
Like 5 years
several years
ago.
ago, five,
It was
six
before
years
COVID,
ago.
which is forever
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah. And so we found out she worked at a place that did not qualify for public service loan forgiveness, and we ran her student
Kaiser.
loans.
It was
Kaiser,
Kaiser.
yeah.
Yeah.
And we run her student loan plan, and we're like, this is going to be very difficult to pay off several $100,000 of student loans without public service loan forgiveness. And she's like, Kaiser doesn't qualify. And the dancing part comes in, is that she loves the dance studio that she's nearby in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we had to give some bad news that she should probably move. And that was really, really difficult for her. But she moved out into middle of nowhere, California, to get this job. And while she was there, she
A job that
very
qualifies for PSLF,
yes,
right? Yeah.
yes,
Because the one she had
that was the
didn't.
kicker.
Yeah.
And while she was there throughout COVID, she got a job that qualified. She, I believe, got a raise. She bought a house. And as of last week, got all of her payments at Kaiser qualified because if you know anything about student loans, you found out that in California, the Kaiser, they basically made Kaiser payments qualify. During
Yeah.
COVID, they made that happen.
So
She
all
got all
that
those,
came back to her. She got
came
credit for
back
all
to her.
that time. Yeah.
That's right. And then all of her current payments counted, and she got, I think, $360,000 forgiven. But I mean, she is set up to retire now. Like she just saving normally for
Yep.
retirement. She's set up to have a house. She set herself up over. It took 5 years, and it took a ton of paperwork and a ton of time and energy. But PSLF is still working
Yeah.
at the
And
moment, and
And there are a lot of times in our journey with her that it looked like PSLF wasn't going to work out. But
mhm.
during COVID, so she didn't have a house before COVID. COVID came along. The Biden administration suspended student loan payments. They paid those student loans on people's behalf. It still counted toward PSLF. And she did the smart thing. Rather than just spending that money that she was making student loan payments with, she saved it, and she saved enough to put like a 5% down payment on a home, and so squeaked into an entry level home. So she did get on the escalator of, and of course, since then, that market has recovered.
I'm so proud of her because I know that this is just not up her alley. I mean, think about someone, they spend all their time being a pediatrician and all their time thinking about dancing and their dogs. Do they
Yep.
want to be turning in the absurd amount of paperwork required to get all this done? No, but
Yeah.
it changed her life to do it.
Yeah.
And I was just there to sort of keep track of what was going on and make sure that if something big happened, I would be there to kind of make sure the pieces didn't hit the floor. And she did most of this. We were telling her what needed to happen, but I
Yeah.
see how much she had to do. She had to take action, and I was really proud of that.
It was huge. Had to uproot
Yeah.
the dog, right?
Yes. But she
Even
just
for our
got a new
babies to have
dog.
feelings.
Yeah, she just got a new dog, so now there's
So,
two.
so the moral of the story here is that public service loan forgiveness is still alive, and you should keep believing in it until somebody comes along and stomps it dead,
Yeah.
right? So I would keep moving toward that. So she had a story that had some incredible turns, but ultimately she wound up with a happy ending.
Mhm.
Which brings us to the end of the show, folks. So if you want to have a happy ending, which is to say you want to have a regret-free retirement, the kind of retirement that you can look back on your life and say, hey, I paid attention, I bought the things that money can't buy. I'm happy about how it went with my life, with my family, what I did for my patients, what I did with my spouse, what I did with my health. If you want that kind of regret-free retirement, we are your guys. We'll walk with you hand in hand to get that done. All you got to do is go to physicianfamily.com, click get started, and take our little quiz if you qualify, and we can chat and see how we can help you. All of our prices are fully disclosed there. They're super reasonable. If that's not for you, then you can take our retirement quiz. It's physicianfamily.com/quiz. And until next time, remember, you're not just making a living, you're making a life.
Are you ready to turn worries about taxes and investing into all the money you need for college and retirement? It's time to make a plan and get on track. To find out if we're a match, visit physicianfamily.com and click Get Started. Or you can ask a question of your own by emailing podcast@physicianfamily.com. See marketing disclosures at physicianfamily.com/disclosures.